Good evening. We are back for our session on the eighth movement. Today, we will look more in depth to the third movement. And also we start looking, maybe, but certainly we start preparing the fourth. But before we start our session with a little practice on some warm-ups for the body, a little warm-ups for the breathing, and then we go in applying the third of the eighth movement, the movement for the direct holding, in Tibetan, Jilwa. Okay, so we always start more or less with the same warm-ups because it's better to have something simple that almost everybody can apply. There are also some movements a little more complex, a little more challenging. We do also some of these sometimes, but in generally, I tend to do something a little simple that don't create too much challenges. Because also the warm-ups, the idea is we can also start immediately to apply at least the fluidity of the breath and the togetherness of the breath with the movement. So that we start to make it one thing, one synergy. The movement of the breath, the movement of the body. And of course, we can do that only if we are present. It means that the mind is together with the movement that we are applying. The mind, saying the mind, our presence is there. We are not distracted. We try to be in what we are doing. In general, this is very important, also in normal life, being present and not being distracted in what we do. And I have been teaching yoga, in particular, mostly Yantra Yoga, for a number of years. And seriously, I really got to the conclusion that, okay, the flexibility of the body is important. Of course, a correct application of the breath is important. But the most important thing is not being distracted. Because if we are not in what we are doing, then things can't happen in the right way. For example, the breathing, we can control the breathing. We can softly also control the breathing, but we need to observe first, discover second, and apply something to change something that we feel is not really correct. But in order to do this, we cannot be distracted. It is not possible, it cannot happen. And also when we put our mind, I prefer to say our conscious presence, in something, things change, really. What we do, some of these exercises, sometimes we use also touch to highlight or to kind of create a secondary a feedback, a secondary point of a kind of hook for our present with touch, different part of the body. But also we can do that with just with the presence. It already works. If we use touch, there are some reason why science can explain these kind of things. And it makes it more easy. For example, a very simple, we breathe. Now, we are sitting down. You are sitting down somewhere in a way that you find comfortable. And we breathe. And maybe breathe, but don't pay too much attention. You just breathe, look around, think of something, but somehow in the back, you are noticing what is happening. You go with the movement of the mind and the senses. Okay, and you have a kind of, you notice how the breath was, no? And now try to put your hand, for example, on the abdomen. It's changed, already changed. And also, because we are touching, we have also this intention, automatically our presence is moving there, our conscience is going there. Now, if we put here, you can see more here, can feel more here. So why? From the point of view of the physical dynamic, there is no explanation. We don't have the back more straight or this or the position. No, we are, as before, we simply put the hands here or here, or both. And immediately we breathe deeper. It looks almost like magic, but it's not. It's how we work. Also, is how our brain works and the feedback to the body and many things. But now, try to do the same with our presence. So you focus on the upper part of the abdomen, being present and thinking that you want to breathe there. Try not to be distracted, to really be not strong, but focus and move your presence there. And now move it here. It still works. Maybe not as much as this, but still works. So our presence, the focus of our mind, whichever way we want to call it, is powerful. So when we put together this, that can coordinate the breathing, and the breathing can infuse the movement. First of all, even a simple movement helps you relaxing more, help the muscle become more supple, just infusing the movement and the body with the breath. It really works this way. So at that point, if we can do that, even a simple movement become more graceful and with less resistance, and can be also more vigorous, but with grace. And so the practice of that we are doing becomes a little like a dance, but also can transfer in daily life, and our way of moving can be, if we are trained, if you have this idea, you can be a little more present. And so the quality of what we do, our life, of our breathing, it improves. There is no doubt about that. But the point is that the breathing is like the bridge. The breathing helps connecting somehow through the control, in the sense, the coordination of the aspect of the energy and the strengthening of our dimension of the energy, in somehow connecting the body and the mind, so there can be a unified condition. Okay. Then we do our little warm-ups. When we can, I already said yesterday, if there is inhaling and exhaling, we can try to put the breath connect with the movement. In general, when we close, we exhale, and when we open, we inhale. That is one principle. But also, if the movement is too quick, then not always is useful to breathe too quickly. Breathe too quickly for a short time can also be good, can also be reinvigorating. There are some exercises like this. In Yantra Yoga, there is the first of the series of movement that's called Sigjong, where the breathing is fast, very vigorous. But here, The focus is on the fluid breathing that is long and direct. So it's different. So when we can, we stay with the long and direct breathing, because in general, in our daily life, that's what you want really to happen. You don't want to breathe in normal life. You do like this if you want to charge yourself, that you want to do something. But normally you want to have a more subdued, subtle, and possibly long breath. That is considered by everybody the most healthy way of breathing. So that is what we have to try to cultivate more. But it's not that the other kind of breathing is not useful. Of course it's useful in certain circumstances and to stimulate certain things. Also this kind of breath is important. There is not the demon, bad and good. It depends always the balance and the circumstances. For example, it's very important to breathe from below. It's very important a diaphragmatic breathing. We call it diaphragmatic, we call it belly, we call it abdominal. It is that thing. And then, according to certain description, can give different flavors, so indicate slightly different things. But it means, the way I prefer to define it, like is explained in the text of Yantra Yoga, the breath starts from below, just below the navel. For me, that is the best explanation, the more simple and easy to understand. So this is very important, but it's not that always and only and focusing and keeping the breath below is the best thing to do. The breath should be open, not necessarily forced and big, but we should have the possibility of really expanding nicely and fluidly and smoothly and also deeply. Long and smooth is a very good breathing. When we can have a range of the breath between 6, there are different ideas, but generally between 6 and 12 cycles of the breathing per minute of respiration is considered good. 6 is the bottom line, you are kind of relaxed. And some people that are really relaxed, they can even have only 2 cycles of breath every minute. But between 6 and 12 is considered quite good. And if you look at the rhythmic breathing that we did, you can see that more or less we are in the range of, including the holding, in the range of 4 breaths per minute, including the hold after inhaling. If we would have to only inhale and exhale, and we do 4 and 4, we are in the range of 6 breaths per minute, because the count of 4 is more or less 5 seconds. So 5 and 5, 10 seconds, 6 times 10 seconds is a minute. So if we breathe also without the holding, 4, 4, we are in this range of 6 nice respiration in a minute. It helps for many things. Okay, so we do our movement. So if we don't want or cannot coordinate the warm-ups with the breathing, of course, especially the warm-ups that are static, then we have just to try to breathe in a smooth way, relax, without forcing, from the nostrils, only from the nostrils. When we do yoga and these kind of things, only from the nostrils. Sometimes in some method, they also advise to inhale from the nostrils, also because there are studies that prove that when we inhale with the nostrils, we memorize better, and many things happen when we breathe from the nostril rather than the mouth. But when you exhale, if you exhale from the mouth, it's not it's still different, but it's okay. At least so is considered. And sometimes there is the advice, in order to help for people also eventually some difficulties in the lungs, to help making a little more effort in exhaling and make it longer and more complete, to exhale from the mouth. Like if you are blowing into a balloon. So we purse lips a little bit. Sometimes this is useful. Some exercises also that are useful when there is some problem with the lungs, they can apply a method like this. We can do many things with our breathing, and it's free. And you can stop moving if you want, laying down totally still, like we do relaxation, but you cannot really stop breathing for a long time. Even when we are in senseless, we still breathe, still is going. The diaphragm, that is the biggest muscle of respiration, never rests, never, ever rests. It's working thousands of times every day. Thousands. But very often it's not used well because several reasons. Because tension, but tension is also influencing the posture. So a closed posture, closed breathing, doesn't open. All these kind of things, they translate in problems. So if we open up the diaphragm, if you open up the breath from below, many things change at many different levels. There are some papers, some studies done about all the different influences that the diaphragm has in different aspects of our physical condition, and is amazing. It's influenced so many things in our physical condition, correlated also to the mental state, to the nervous system, to the breathing. It's incredible. It's very, very important that we can relax and train the diaphragm and having a full breath. Okay, after this advertising about breathing, we do some warm-ups. Remember, try to stay with your breathing as much as you can. Even if you're concentrating on this, but try to have a back awareness on the breathing. For example, the example that Rinpoche was giving often is the example of when one is driving a car. We drive a car, in the beginning we have to be very, very, very much attentive and very much focused, even almost a little tense about not when, and then when you learn, you drive your car, but you still can talk with somebody, or not turning and talking, obviously. It happened to me once, somebody did that. But you can listen to some music. Unfortunately, these days people look at the smartphone, and that is causing many accidents. But still, you know, and you have this kind of, you're not distracted with the road. If you are, you can have an accident. So we have this possibility, no? Now, if you go in detail, it's a little more complex, the way that really happens, but doesn't matter now. But still, you can be aware that you want to shake this foot, but at the same time that you can keep your breath smooth. Okay. The other one. Both, a little balance. This, the same. How you feel better? The knee. Here you don't move the knee like this, and the hand is there like pretending to do something. No, you have to let the head passive, limp, and then you shake it. The other side. Now, inhale and exhale. Okay, now both. So yesterday I showed you some of these how or quite similar, same function how we can do on the chair. So this one, if you want to do on the chair, of course we do it only half, and I don't know, some people can, but if you can do it on the chair like this, then you can probably do it also on the floor. Back if you want to keep the back straight. This is important because opening up the groins helps for the position, for the sitting position very much. Now we go out. We have seen how to do also this on the chair. Then the other side. And then we do a little breathing movement, inhaling and exhaling. Okay, now okay, we do this because it's always useful. We inhale, we go at the side of the foot, and we do this movement. If you do it slowly, you can connect with the respiration. If you do it a little more bouncing, it's better you go free. The other side, switch. And move down the navel. Don't move the head. Don't think of the head or the shoulder. Move down the navel. The head and the shoulder will come. Okay. Now we have to do a little bit the forward bending because there are few movements of the 8 that have this the ending or the starting of the movement itself, but the ending of one is the starting of the next. So, and then we try to go and touch, if you can, touch your toes. If you cannot, you stop before. But again, you don't do this. You come forward with your navel, and then try to reach. So this already is already enough. We can go down more, but this already is also enough to finish some of the 8 movements in this way. If you cannot do this, you put it before, or it can also eventually stop at the knees. Just go. Because generally this movement is done exhaling. So when we exhale, makes reaching a little further easier. Okay, now you put one foot under the knee. Okay, like this. And then we go forward. Of course, you can go more now, because also somebody, the tendency is to lift the knee. It's very difficult to keep the legs really, really straight. And then we remain like this a little bit. Let it gently stretch. Then we cross, if you can, cross the other side. Breathing smoothly. And then we switch. Go there. You can keep your hand on the knee, but without pushing. Then the other side, crossing. And try to keep it more or less straight, the foot. Okay. Now, again, straight, and try to see if you go forward a little bit more. And probably is a yes. Maybe not so much, but a little bit more you can. Now you move the foot in this way, close to the knee. Be careful that you don't feel any tension in your knee. And then move back a little bit to the point where you feel the muscles of the front thigh a little stretching. It's a very gentle stretch, so we have to stay a little, 1-2 minutes. Now I have the wall, so I am advantaged. So you go back, not too much, don't force it, to the point where you see a soft stretch. You feel a little bit on the thigh. We can also go all the way back, but that is strong. So maybe after some training is possible. If some people can, they can go back more. Like this also is no problem for anybody. But if you want to go back more, then you have to go like this, and then going down, and it's more complex. So like this is already doing something. Now we switch to the other leg, and we do the same. Let it gently stretch. To increase a little bit the stretch, don't let the knee open up like this. You have to try to keep it a little close to the other leg. This they call the soft belly breathing. You can concentrate a little on breathing in the abdomen. Okay. Now, again, we strengthen forward and go and see. It may be a little more than before. Again, more is happening. And it should. So this is a way from the front, from the back, from the front, that we can gently stretch our legs so that the forward bending is more easy, and so you don't risk pushing the position because you want to get further. Okay, and they're very simple, no, not complicated. Now, in this position, we would have to try to come forward in this way, coming up. This is how we do, I was talking about the fourth movement, then we try to do something like this. This is not so easy. It's not so easy to do this. And this is the transition to go into the fourth movement. But we train it slowly, and it should become more easy. And otherwise, there is some adaptation. So to train it, we go like this, in this position, like this. If you can, you bring your heels on the ground. But also this is not so easy for some people. And sometimes you want to stay in this position that beside other things, this squatting is a very good position in itself. Spend a little time, if you can, during the day in this position, like if you were in India. And then it's very good. Believe it or not, it's very good. First of all, it's one position that really helps having a soft but nice stretch of the spine. It's very good. And also, it fosters many things. It's good for many things. So sometimes if you cannot sit like this, you can have something of this kind. You can put it, and so you can ground. even if you cannot really put the heels on the ground, but you can put it on some small support, and it's kind of nice. And then, of course, with the support you can't, but we pretend that are like this. Then you go back if you can't and do this movement. You can exhale and inhale. And so we try to go back a little more. Until you can go down. And then maybe you push yourself up. Go down and push yourself up. Yesterday when we finished this breathing at the end, the very end, you do something like this. So we try to do this sometimes. This also is the beginning of the training. Then, because I don't tell you to do this because I like it, but many people don't. Also, this one is good for the feet, but can be a little painful for many people. And now, because we are in this position, so we use it to open the breath. So we are like this, or if you cannot, maybe like this. For example, with something under a blanket or something, maybe a block like this can also is a little high, but maybe for some people is necessary. So you stay grounded. And then you can hug yourself, grab yourself at the knees, and then breathe. In this case, we have to breathe a little deep from the nostrils. Don't push too hard, but still you stay tight. So we'll notice that there is an expansion of the back. You take some deep breath here now. From the nostrils, you give it in, you breathe. So you feel your back expanding, your dorsal expanding. Okay. Now, if you come down and sit, comfortable position, and start breathing. Tell me, actually, you cannot tell me, but look how it is. You see, it's already open. So these are some little warm-ups to prepare for the next. But now we have to do again this for preparing our third. So we cross, and I shown yesterday how to do it on the chair already. So you cross nicely like this, and then exhaling, we move down from the navel toward the thigh. Inhale and exhale. When you inhale, you have this, when you move down, you should have a kind of pressure of the belly on the thigh, pretty much like we were before in this position. So think somehow that you want to push your abdomen, inhaling, you want to push your abdomen against the thigh, and you kind of come up with the breath. And when you exhale, let it come out from the top. So that when you arrive down, you can really need lean thoroughly on the thigh and finish to exhale very nicely. And then come up. If you do this, a simple warm-up like this become a nice exercise also to train the breath. And then when you have this mechanic going, you don't have to think too much, you don't have to try to breathe too strongly, but you already have these mechanics are embedded already into your memory a little bit, and so they keep you keep refreshing simply. Then we stay a moment there. Now you can drop your head. Now come up and move to the side without pushing. We take 2 or 3 breaths there, smooth breathings. Then we go to the other side. Here we push more to the side. We really, if you can keep the hand like this on the ground and straighten up and push also your shoulder back, but not the head. If some people can, we can go down like this. You can push back the knee with your elbow and try to go down more. And then we switch the other side. Remember, if you cannot do like this, you can also do something like this, but with the support under your sit bones, it works better. Inhale and exhale. Then let go the head. Now we go to the open side, gently, not pushing. Then to the other side. Now really trying to turn, to twist. And if it's possible, try to go like this. Okay. So now we are almost ready. But I want to do first something for the exhalation from the top. And maybe still thinking of the fourth movement, we do it kneeling. If some people have some problem kneeling, then there is something we can do. For example, we can have a towel or something, and we can roll it, not so much, a little bit, and we can put it under the top of the foot. Here, we put this one here, and that is already helping. Many people can overcome this problem with this little thing there. You find the place and the kind of thickness that you see is helping you. Other people need something, maybe the same thing. Now I use this because I have this here. You can sit on something, for example, not maybe very high. You a pillow or a blanket or something under your. Now I turn and the show is better. For example, something like this. And for other people who have another kind of problem, this can help. Okay. In this position, we put our hand on our shoulders. At first, we circle around, breathing easy, change direction. This is very good for the arms, for the shoulders. And you try to join the elbow if you can in front. And when you go back, then you can push a little bit In the beginning, maybe not, but after, if you can, you close slightly the shoulder blades. And then the other direction. Okay, and then we put together the breathing. We inhale to here. The inhalation stops here. And then you start exhaling, trying to bring the elbow together. This one really closes the upper chest and helps you directing the air down. So letting the air out from the top. Remember, does this remind you something? Vaguely? The second of the 8 movements, when we do this, we do something similar. Only in this case, we are not exhaling, we are helping the air being moved downward. Here is even more strong, but the principle is more or less on that range of things. Inhale, exhale, and then inhale coming back. And now you move down the shoulders. Exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, still the same point, exhale. Again, when you do this, you're lowering the shoulders, closing the rib cage. And so you exhale from the top. Here, the same things, but more in the center. When you exhale from here, is more through the side. This is also what happens in the third movement, how we direct the Jilwa by first opening and then closing the rib cage. Instead of letting the air out, we keep it inside, so it's moving down. That is the purpose of Jilwa, mostly. Most of the time, the purpose of Jilwa, directed hold, is to bring the air that has been coming in and has been kind of balanced by a moment of open hold down toward the belly button. That is a function of Jilwa. And when we exhale top to bottom, our body does same kind of actions. So again, in, out without interruption in the flow of the breath, in, out, in, out, in, out. Okay. So also this is a preparation for the third movement. And importantly, the exhalation from the top. But if we look really what it does, when you are like here, like this, and start inhaling, is also helping inhaling from below. So now we do this. We go in this position and breathe. You see, you breathe mostly down below. But of course, when you let go, you let it start. Let it start. And then it's coming up. And again. So you see, this is another example how the position of the body changes the movement of the breath. How we experience the expansion of the breath in different ways. But This is really fundamental in the practice of Yantra, for example, because this will determine the holding, how is happening and where. So it's very important. That is exactly how the head movement works. But we can understand this principle even outside the head movement with exercise of this kind. You still can become aware of the fact that the movement is influencing how we breathe, the position. So you understand that if you are tense, if somebody has some tension, some stress, some fear, something, and so you start doing this, you start closing your shoulders and making smaller your chest. And of course, at this point, the diaphragm, because of tension, is blocked. Then you breathe like this. Well, your lungs are not very happy. Your brain is not very happy. And these create a kind of breathing that is not allowing the tension to go away. But if we, through some exercises, for example, that's why we are trying to learn the head movements, but also simple exercise in general, if you are aware of that and do you something that can help you open the chest, can relax the lower breath, and you start breathing more smoothly and more, then this chain reaction, tension, tense breath, more tension, tense mind, more constricted breath, looks like a doom, you know, but shouldn't be like that. You apply this kind of try to apply open, slow breath, using some exercises, using some of the head movement, the rhythmic breathing. First, maybe you open up the breath, you try the rhythmic breathing, you let this coordinated expansion change the breathing, change the posture, change what happens in the lungs, in the brain, change your mood. Because if you root the breath below, then we put in action things that make us more calm. Really, it is really, really, really true. It's the kind of medicine that we have since birth, and we when we die, then we don't breathe anymore. But otherwise, we constantly breathe all through our life. That is something is there. So it's better to try to use it well, much better, especially all the benefit that can bring. Okay, so now we are going to see again the third movement, but before we do our 9 breathings. First, we have a couple of long fluid breathings. Then we go in, from the nostrils, close and go, no holding here. Now empty. The other side. I give some indication, but you have to go with your own capacity. Empty, going down. In the other side. Exhale like a grain of barley. Top to bottom. Empty. Inhale, bottom up. Now a moment empty, then inhale from the bottom up in the position. Start exhaling from the top. Then move forward from the navel forward. Keep the back straight. Exhale on the way down. With the back straight. A moment empty. Then come back. Exhale. Elbow to the side. Okay. This we will repeat every day. I hope that by now is clear. If it is not clear, sometimes I will give a little tips here and there to be sure that you understood very well of doing it. Because I know that many people, even people who have been doing Yantra, do it a little sort of, okay, we have to start with the nine breathing, so we do it. It's a pity, because the nine breathings have, they do a lot of things. Not just eliminating the impure air, but they also train the breath, train the expansion of the breath, train the characteristic of the exhalation, start introducing the empty hold. They are a rich practice, not just, if we do it as a routine, then doesn't really work. That's why I'm saying that it's important to be present when we do things. Even if we did it for 25 years, every time should be the same. We should try to be present in what we do, not let habit take over. Because when the habit take over, also you slowly start to think we are doing it, you don't pay attention, you start modifying something, and then something become more modified and more, and then we start to do strange things. Because we miss the essence of the principle of what we are doing. So we have to try to be there when we do it correctly. Okay. Now we do the third movement. We look at it again a little more. Maybe I have to change a little bit the setting of the camera. I hope it is okay. First I show how we go down. Okay. Gently, without pushing. apart from what is happening from upstairs, up there, we look at what is happening. This is a connecting movement. This is the important movement. So even if some people have problems in coming down, that they really, the problem could be not only that it's physically difficult, but the problem could be also that you block the breath. Maybe you do like this, and then it's not worth it. Because if you block the breathing, you already start creating some tension and introducing some tension of the breathing, and that is disturbing what is coming after. So it's not worth it. If you have to block the breath, and in order to discover that, you have to observe what you're doing, otherwise you don't discover it, obviously. So it's much better to sit down, go in the position, inhale, and exhale. Then we put the palm of the hand on the big toe, the thumb on the big toe, the palm on the sole of the feet, and the thumb on the big toe, both sides. And we try to be as much as possible straight. So we arrive like this. Then we inhale, pretty much like we did like this before, remember? So we are not down, but the principle is the same. You breathe from below. And the inhalation is slightly turning to the side, slightly opening to the side. You don't push to the side. No. You don't push the shoulder this or this to try to turn. It's not what you have to do. You just have to let it open and let the breath expand. So a little bit to the side and keeping the head in the axe of the spine, not trying to push the head in any way. Keep it just aligned with the spine. After you have done this inhalation, that should be nice because you open up and it comes from below and it's only 2 counts, but it's a nice inhale. It's not just small, not really. If you have opened the breath, it comes pretty nice. And then we go 2 counts in open hold. So from here to here, we are in open hold. Here to here. So when we are inhaling, we let the spine spring somehow, like a spring from the root of the spine. It opens up the rib cage, it opens up the breath. So again, it's from the spine. You have to lengthen the spine. And then you keep it that way, and you start moving to the side. And again, you just move with the root of the spine. But when you are here, now you have to try to go as much as you can to that side. Not the head. The head remains in the axe of the spine. And then here, you have to help to have this movement done more thoroughly with moving back this shoulder, keeping the back straight and moving this shoulder. If you push with the shoulder, then the back is hunched. Okay? This is the shoulder that should lead the movement. So the open hold that is sitting here nicely, when you start doing this, changes, and it starts, the position of the body will induce the air of being directed down already. And then you move toward the thigh, fulfilling completely here the aspect of the directing hold. finishing the directing down of the air, and then you exhale. You let the air go out. Sometimes it's a little, not forceful, a little body, that doesn't matter. It's not a problem. Then inhale. This movement, I go and rewind in the wrong way. These movements should possibly be together, arms and legs. So we start coming up, you lose the legs and the arms so that more or less they can get together at the same time as much as possible. It's possible not this unless you need to. It's not separating. Okay, try to make it together. And then exhale in front, more or less down, more or less according to your capacity. If you can, you have to put the fingers together with the toes. Some people go like this, you do many different things, but the text is saying fingers on the toes and forehead on the knees. If you want to push it, you just stay. You don't have to push it, really. And then we inhale, opening up to the side, and we cross the other way. Now men cross the right over the left, women the left over the right, and we go in the specular mirror-like position as before. Then inhale. Just, you see, try to keep the head not like this, not like this. Try to keep it on the axe. Then open hold, and then the open hold, you push with the shoulder, because the text is saying that at this point, we should, at the end, touch if we can, put the forehead on the ground, keeping the back straight. So you can do that only if you are really, really to the side. So again, like this, but don't push it the head, try to keep it still on the axe. And then go down with Gilles, and then exhale. Inhale, and exhale again, and finish. I hope it is clear, because we are getting to the end of the class. So I repeat again, once more, because this is important, this movement. Gilles, in the sequence of the movement, first of all, there is 3 times Gilles. In the 8 movements, 3 times there is Gilles. And then is again, if we train this kind of holding well, you are also embedding in our system the mechanics to also be able to exhale from the top. And then if you want to do correctly the close hold, Gilles is important, because that's how you get to the point of the close hold, that is the next hold. So Gilles is an important movement and hold. So let's figure we are still here. We are again on the ground. So I don't do coming down, I just show you the movement, how they are. Inhale, crossing, exhale, inhaling, opening up a little, then in open hold, go to the other side, then lean on the thigh, holding, and then let go. Exhaling. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, Exhale from the other side. Inhale. Open hold. Directed hold. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Okay, this is the third. So maybe we do it tomorrow from the top coming down, because I want to show it on the chair. This one. I have already shown yesterday. No, I already shown yesterday that we would have, to be more precise, to come up with the feet or like this, or using some support. So depending on your condition, can be one or two or whatever. And the point is that you try to recreate the same condition that there is when you are in the ground. So this knee high enough, not too high, but high enough that can allow a control of the side and a base for the exhalation and the giving the direction for the hold. So we are like this. We consider that we are already sitting like this. So we inhale and exhale, and we grab one, and the other we stay with the hooked into the chair. You find a place on the side, or sometimes you can also grab this part, the back of the chair. It depends the kind of the chair. They're all different, so you see which kind of chair you have. Then inhale, open hold, directed hold, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, open hold, directed hold, exhale. Inhale, exhale. It works very nicely also like this. Really works very nicely. And now I have only this, and maybe my feet are a little too closed, but if you have possibility slightly more open, can be maybe a little better. No, not really. Let's see this way. Okay, I do it again. Exhaling, inhale, open hold, directed hold, exhale, inhale, Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Open hold. Directed hold. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. It really works nicely. You can really feel it is doing what it's supposed to do. Is really working enough the way that it's supposed to work. Can be really done also on the chair. Okay, so now we finish like we finished yesterday with a little bit of of relaxation. First, we do discharge, our clean up everything with some, in the case we made some little mistake. That is the purpose of this. Originally, we should do the Vajra wave, but the Vajra wave maybe forward, we'll see. But now, this is a kind of substitution, really expel. You have to expel. So if there is maybe a little contraction, blockage here and there, we clean up. We clean up and then we relax. And you abandon everything. You don't correct anything. You don't correct the position of the body. You don't correct the breathing. Yet you don't try to correct the mind. You let everything be as it is. Naturally relaxed. Okay, now we move. Then we can roll to the side. Coming up. and we finish for today. Thank you very much. Thank you.